Hey guys, it's me, Vinny again. This is the 5th video that I've recorded this entire day. And I'm back with soda because I literally stopped to eat pizza, and charge my phone, 5 minutes ago. So, I'm back with soda. Probably not the healthiest thing for me to be drinking, but oh well. I am honestly debating on telling the story of my ex or telling another ghost story. I think the ghost story would be better because I'm not exactly comfortable with telling stories about said ex. So, I have a lot of stories about a lot of my exes, by the way. If you guys want to hear them, please go to my Instagram. I'll even show you the Instagram for my YouTube. Let me just... There. It's, if you can see it, bigender ___ prince. That's my face. It's my name there. I have no posts up. But yeah, so if you guys want me to do story times on my exes, if you want to hear all of them, because I do have quite a few, go follow me and go watch those videos. Go and request them. DM me and request them, because I have a lot. I'm gonna alter between soda and water right now. Okay, so on to the second house that my dad has lived in that I've witnessed paranormal stuff in. Though I'm sure half of this stuff could probably have an explanation. Whoops. So this was when my dad was living above an ex-friend of my mom's. Her name, I'm gonna give her a name because I don't really want to give away people that probably wouldn't be okay with this. I don't want to give away their names. So her name is going to be Evelyn. First name that popped in my head. Also, name of characters in 3 different stories I'm writing. And the name of one of my friends. And the woman... Okay, so this was a 3-way apartment. There was the bottom half, which is what Evelyn lived in. And then there was the hell are you doing up at this hour? Go to sleep. There was a car. And then there was one half of the apartment over here, and then the part that my dad lived in. And the one that lived over here, even though she's probably not going to be mentioned very much in this story, we're going to call her Anna. So my dad lived next to Anna and above Evelyn. And what's the first story? 3-way apartment. And there were a couple of encounters. Evelyn's daughter had, I think, she lived in the part that Dad lived in, and there was a couple times a man watching her sleep, even though the man, like, didn't exist. There was, like, there have been noises to have been heard while they were, like, downstairs and nobody was living there, and stuff like that, before Dad, like, prior to Dad living there. And the first one that okay, and 3 people in my family have, like, actually lived there. My dad, my cousin Lewis, and my cousin Brian. And, what the hell is in my eye? I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna edit this out. Maybe there's nothing there. Okay. Probably just an eyelash. So, like I said, my dad and 2 of my cousins lived there at this time. Well, not at this time, like, throughout this story. And so, the first one that was encountered, okay, yeah, so the first one that was encountered with my dad and my cousin, hold on, yep, editing that out, was when my cousin Lewis lived there with my dad. And I wasn't there for this, but I was told about it, and so the first one was, they had heard some, keep in mind, the doors are locked. Nobody can get in. They heard someone walk in, go to the kitchen, and, like, even though it's, like, mostly carpet, they had, like, the big fisherman's boots, or it sounded like they did, and, like, you can hear that on carpet. Go into the kitchen, mess around in the fridge, and leave. And they both walked out and said, "What the hell were you doing outside?" "I wasn't outside, I thought you were." Also, literally don't mind the fact that I've been wearing this makeshift binder all day. We'll just forget that it exists. Wait, which one's this? Okay. So something, Lewis had left by this point, and Brian was talking to his girlfriend, at the time girlfriend, he has a different one now, but he was talking to her on the phone. What is this? Okay. Sorry, there's, like, stuff in my soda and it's really weird. So he was talking to his, at the time, girlfriend, and he said that he had thought he heard us come home. And he claimed that he saw what looked like a small child crawl into his room and to the end of his bed. So, like, he couldn't see it, like, once it got to the bed, but it was, like, but he knew it was there. And he thought it was me. And like I said, my birth name, like I said a couple videos ago, my birth name is Julie. Or, no, it was just last video. The last video I made. And he was like, "Julie, get out of my room. Julie, get out of my room." And then he got really, really upset, sat up, and said, "Get out of my room." And as he said that, he claimed that like 2 hands came up over the side of the bed, like that, and something like peeked its head up, and it was just a little shadow, and its eyes were white. Like when someone like rolls their eyes back, like when they're trying to be cool and going, like, what? I never encountered encountered that, but oh, whatever. By the way, my family calls me Julie, calls me by my birth name, mostly because half of them don't know. But like most people who do know, except for my mom and my grandma, call me Vinny, and my pronouns are they, them. I should have mentioned that in my first video, but I didn't think of doing that, so I guess I'm telling you now. Oh, this one. This one freaked me out because my dad told me this one, and I was like, don't tell me this when I'm on my way literally to your house. So my dad couldn't sleep one night, and he was watching wrestling like he always does when he can't sleep. And he claimed that he heard my cousin Brian in Lewis's chair, because, well, I mean, Brian used the chair a lot, and he claimed that he heard him say, "What the hell are you still doing up?" And he turned to the chair and said, "What the hell are you still doing?" Nobody was there. Again, we were on our way to his house when he told me this. So, I mean, like, why did he... Do you want me to have nightmares? This is why I don't sleep anymore. People wonder why I don't sleep. That's why. Here comes my experiences with this. Let me walk in the door. Okay, I low-key experienced this one. It's not like I actually was there to witness, like, but my dad went to get me, and he said that he had put I had a pink princess ball, I don't know whatever happened to it, but he said that he put it up against the chair, like the corner of the chair. The coffee table is over a little and pulled out, like, enough for people to sit. And he said that, like, when we walked in, he was talking to me. I don't really remember what he was saying, but he was talking to me. And he stopped short and looked at the ball. And he goes, "That wasn't there." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it had rolled. Keep in mind, nobody lives here at this point. It's literally just Dad that lives there. And what is my hair doing? And he's like explaining that he had, oh my god. So he's explaining that he had put it up against the couch, and it was at the my mouth is having a malfunction. It was like at the farthest bar of the leg on the coffee table. So like couch, first leg, last leg. It was like all the way right there. It was further than that, but like that's kind of like the general. So it was like at the like closest to the door. And I jokingly was like, well, maybe the ghosts were just playing with the ball. This was before I realized that ghosts actually like legitimately haunt that place. Or my dad. I'm not even sure really anymore. Honestly, probably both. I've never witnessed anything in the house I live in right now, but every place my dad lived that I've been to, either I or somebody else has witnessed some type of ghostly stuff happening. So, I mean, okay, this one could have literally just been my imagination playing tricks on me because, again, I was a young child. I was like 10, 11, maybe. Dad and I were watching TV, and it was some Disney show. I don't remember what it was. And there was a curtain, but there was like a part of the curtain that like there was a part that the curtain like didn't reach to the wall all the way, and you could like look out the window a little bit and like see kind of like if somebody was on the steps or whatnot. And we're watching it, and I'm talking to him, and I just kind of like look over, and he goes, what did you see? And I said, I thought I saw a person. And he like kind of looked towards it and goes, but there's nothing there. And I go, I know, but it looked like there was. Again, it could have just been my imagination, because I'm an only child, so I have like literally no siblings. I had to make up imaginary friends up until the age of like 7, not even. Like, I still had a couple imaginary friends at the age of 7. Like, I was a very lonely child. So, yeah, that was a very odd thing that happened to me. And, like, at the time, this seemed very, very paranormal to me, because at the time, I was a lot more... I wouldn't necessarily say that I was more open-minded to the paranormal, but, like... I guess technically I was. Like, now I'm sort of, like, more closed-minded. English, Vinny, English. I'm more closed-minded about it now, because most of my family and a lot of my friends are like, oh, those don't exist. Even though, like, I'm very much aware that it does. And I can sense when there's people and like disembodied presences like near me. And I have a story on that, like 2 houses from this, like 1 house over from this. So like my aunt's house and then this house I've experienced a lot of like people being in here, and most of it this used to be like a doctor's office, by the way. Like, everything from from like the living room back, no, not the living room, the kitchen back was like an add-on after the after the doctor's office like, stop being a thing. So, or no, the living room was an add-on as well, because the doctor's office used to be where the hallway is, up here. So, like, the hallway, my grandfather's room, my dad's room, and my room were all part of the doctor's office. Though I don't think the doctor that lives here ever went into this part of it. He went into that part. My dad's room. We're just like right there. Anyways, I will tell that story later during that specific during the story time of this house. This one, again, I don't really know if this one was necessarily paranormal. But I was watching TV in my room, and I was, like, trying to fall asleep, and it wasn't working. And I had thought that my dad, well, I mean, there's no way for a cat to get up there, even from the grill, because that balcony is, like, a good, like, 10 to 20 feet from the grill. Like, from the ground, from the grill. So there's, like, no way that I was able to get there. And so I heard, and it didn't even sound like a cat. Like, you know how you can distinctly tell the difference between a cat's meow and a human's meow? Usually. It sounded like it was a human. Like, it didn't sound anything like a cat. And it goes, meow, meow. And eventually I'm like, okay, Dad, you caught me, because I thought it was my dad trying to play tricks on me. And it doesn't stop. It still goes meow, meow, meow. And I looked up expecting to see my dad, and I glanced and there was, like, nothing there, and I was like, oh shit. And I glanced down and there was a cat, and it scared me. So I yelled for my dad. I was like, how the hell did that get in here? And it ran, and the stove was usually on, because, like, I guess, like, if I was ever getting up to go to the bathroom or getting up to get a drink, like, the stove light would be on, or the oven light, technically. And it could have just completely have been the lighting, but it looked like the cat disappeared in front of the stove light. And my dad had ran out, and, like, just as my dad had ran out, like, gotten close to my room, that's when it looked like it just disappeared like that. And I was really, really freaked out. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. That was... Yep. Oh, there's another one after that. There's, like, a few more from this house. Okay, I witnessed this one. My dad's room was, like, right next to my room, and my closet, like, if you broke down the wall of my closet, it would be, you would end up in his closet and then in his room. And, I was, like, I was starting to fall asleep. And I heard my dad go, "What? What? What do you want?" And then, like, after, like, 5 minutes of that, he finally stopped. And the next morning I asked him about it. He said, somebody in your room kept knocking on the wall. And I was like, well, it wasn't me because I was pretty much asleep. But I had remembered hearing, like, some type of, like, really faint... I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I heard, like, faint knocking. Or, like, faint noises, but I didn't really think much of it. And it sounded like it was coming from his room. So, like I said, didn't think much of it. I thought it was probably just the house settling, because it's a fairly old house. I don't know. Oh, my dad told me about this one. Again, he was alone in the house. Nobody was there for this. I wasn't even there for this. But he told me about it, and he was, like, making coffee and, like, getting ready to do whatever it was that he did that day. And he was, like, walking through the hallway into the living room, and something, like, pushed his hand and knocked the coffee over. And there was, like, it was, like, right outside my door, too. And, like, there was a big stain left on the coffee, or left from the coffee, that fell out of his hand. But the cup didn't break or anything. Something just, like, hit his hand. That was it. And he, like, it wasn't like the wall, like, he hit his hand against the wall on accident because he wasn't near the wall. At least not on that side. And I don't know, it was just really weird. And he was like, okay, what the hell? Oh, I also wasn't there for this one. That was creepy. Like I said, I wasn't there for this one. And he had claimed that every time he started, like, dozing off to sleep, he'd feel like a little kid, like, kind of, like, pushing down on the bed and then, like, hiding. And he said that he also heard it giggling. And he would always, like, look over, nothing would be there, roll back, and start falling asleep again. And then it'd happen again. And after about, like, 3-4 times, he finally said, alright, cut it out. And it stopped. Yep. And the next one is for house number 3. So, that's 6. Learn math, Vinny. No, the next one's for house number 3. And I will see you guys in the next video. If you liked it, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you're liking the content that I'm making so far, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.